welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today, I'm playing Vintage at the request of Patreon subscriber Guy. I am testing for Eternal Weekend, and this is Oath of Druids. At this point, I'm recording this on November 18th. Eternal Weekend starts 4 days from now in the US, which is, of course, last week by the time you're seeing this, but that's how pre-recorded content works. I have locked Bug Beans for Legacy, and I am 80-20 in favor of Oath over Lurrus for Vintage. What I need out of Oath is for the flex slots to be perfect for the matchups I'm worried about. Things I'm worried about include Jewel Shops, which remains a top deck of the metagame. And I see a lot of the top players, led by Eco Baronin lately, in the Vintage challenges, switching their Lurrus decks from Dimir to Esper. Dimir Lurrus is a slaughter for Oath. It's massively positive. Esper, they get to add Containment Priest to their wall of counter magic, and it gets a lot more interesting. And then the sideboard games against Esper Lurrus become about, can I answer a Containment Priest before I am dead? Oko, also a huge deal against all manners of fair Lurrus decks, all fair decks in general. Bug, Shops. I played against a Grixis Lurrus deck recently, which isn't that popular, but it had Dreadhorde Arcanist and stuff, which is pretty cool. I would bring in Oko there as well. Oko is the type of, it's not really a juke because it's also in the main deck, but having more of a solo planeswalker that can just carry the game against an opponent who otherwise you would need to get multiple things together on is important. So respecting Jewel Shops, and to a lesser degree Doomsday, that deck is not a good matchup, and it is popular among extremely proficient pilots, but it is lower in the metagame. And then adjusting to the Esper shift out of Lurrus are what I'm trying to do with my deck here. Cards I consider flex slots in the main are Consigned to Memory, Flusterstorm, 2 Thoughtseizes. And in these 4 slots, I want some combination of Thoughtseize, Fluster, Consigned to Memory, Gaia's Blessing, Abrupt Decay, Oko, maybe something like Into the Floodmaw is live. How do I adjust these slots to best affect the metagame that I expect? Right now, I'm on kind of the Jewel Shops anti-combo spread. The Consigned to Memory lines up against Doomsday because it hits the Oracle. It lines up against Jewel Shops because it hits half the cards in their deck. Flusterstorm is not great against Jewel Shops, but it is good in most other matchups. And then 2 Thoughtseize. I like Thoughtseize a lot because not only do you get to take their best card, but you get to see all the rest of them and make a plan around it. And if you can make a plan in a deck that can win the game with a single spell, that's so much better than trying to guess and work your way around everything. The flip side is Thoughtseize doesn't answer a resolved Containment Priest, but if I could take it out of my opponent's opening hand, that's pretty great. Thoughtseize does not help me on the draw versus Jewel Shops, a deck that is built to force check you. Pros and cons, but it's a card I do like quite a lot. I main decked a Null Rod at NYSE over the summer, and that card did not pull its weight in the main throughout the tournament. I was not happy with that choice. Relegating those to the sideboard this time. Apologies to my more casual viewers for this tight analytical deck tech on 4 or 5 different cards rather than just talking about the deck generally. But this is the mode I'm in right now. A couple days out from Eternal Weekend, really trying to get the final percentages locked in. This is the spread I'm going to try today. Oh, I'm also +1 Ravenous Trap in the sideboard. That's 2 traps and a Tabernacle to respect Dredge with. Dredge is not a deck that I want to dedicate much to, because I think we have a reasonable plan against them. But if I don't give them any respect, they will run me over. I see a lot of Oathless online playing for Leyline of the Void. I just can't bring myself to do that. That's so many sideboard slots. I hate it. I'm also not playing Sphinx of the Steelwind in this build, which is a great tinker bullet for some matchups, but now that White has Witch Enchanter, that is just another way to pick it off in the main. It's gotten a lot worse. Those are some things I'm trying compared to old lists I've played. I'm just going to get into this, or else I would ramble about the details forever. This is Oath from Guy. 3-for-1 Trading's Black Friday sale starts today. Their whole inventory is 5% off, and they offer free worldwide shipping on orders over $500. In addition to the site-wide sale, there's special items that are on sale every day. The daily sale supply is limited. Sign up on shop.3for1 Trading for notifications so you don't miss out. I'm on the play in round 1. My opponent is a big fan of the channel. They said hi, YouTube. Everyone say hi to Y Bestone. I am going to keep my hand even though it is critically missing green mana, but I do have one of these Thoughtseizes I'm testing, and I have Force Blue card, and I can take a peek. Oh good, it's Oops All Spells. What do I do with that information? I mean, Thoughtseize is probably pretty good. We've got... Do I just value Time Walk here? Hey, what is the plan in this hand? It's just Ancestral Recall and hope it's good. Because this is just a bunch of mana. I don't think I'm going to value Time Walk here. I think I'm just going to Thoughtseize the Ancestral out. Yeah, I'm going to pass here with Force Blue card. I do need to get something going. They said they only just started playing Vintage on MTGO last night, and they love it already. Heck yeah, love to hear that. Okay, we're back in the same spot of do I want to value Time Walk or not? And this might be a use it or lose it situation. I am going to walk here. Maybe if I'm going to do it now, I should have done it last turn, and I'm not being consistent in my life, but it's definitely better to Time Walk with a Trax already in play. Okay. This deck is unlikely to put a creature into play unless I put it there for them. I am just going to pass without playing the Oath. I could play the Crypt to hardcast Force, but I don't want to start taking damage if they don't shove into the Force, and I don't mind losing this Atraxa from my hand that much. Dark Ritual. Poxwalkers. Ah, we did it. Okay. By holding back the Oath, I was thinking maybe my opponent would play out the Narcomoeba, but holding back the Oath, we fooled the opponent into committing a game-ending sin. However, I did draw Forbidden Orchard anyway. So, unpunished, but still pretty big deal. And the Orchard goes a long way, but by not playing the Oath, we got him on the hook anyway. Dark Ritual. Another Poxwalkers. Alright, just go it after it. They said, might as well. I'm going to deposit an Atraxa onto the battlefield here, milling 25 cards. Alright, what do I want? I would like an artifact, a land. Force of Will is a pretty good instant. Do I need Vamp Tutor here? I don't think so. And I don't actually want an enchantment or a creature. I do get a sorcery, though. Okay, done. I'll take those 4 cards. That puts an Atraxa back to the bottom. Underground Sea, Mox Jet. And now I just have to be alive for a while. These Poxwalkers do have Death Touch, but I have Lifelink. I will not be blocking. And I'll decline this Oath trigger, even though I am entitled to an Atraxa here. This is a spot where having Gaia's Blessing in the deck would actually just be endless card advantage. I don't think I can lose, really. And that's not even true. If they thread together double send that beats my double protection, then that's pretty good. But it has to be that. And I'm not Besageoing this land because I know there's another land and a Chrome Mox in the hand. And I don't think that's where I'm going to apply meaningful pressure this game. They attack, I attack. I am netting 1 life point per turn on my side. So it's a 8-point swing in my favor each turn. Maybe I was supposed to take Force of Negation instead of Force of Will off of the Atraxa earlier. Do I want to destroy one of these now? Yeah, I guess like anything that to interact is fine. If I take Force of Negation earlier, I'm not worried about Cabal Therapy. Where now I am pretty worried about Cabal Therapy. Okay. Thoughtseize was good there. Mindbreak Trap, Force of Negation, Consign to Memory, all things I'm interested in. Ravenous Trap I'm interested in. Tabernacle stops the Beats plan, but Beats is certainly not their plan A. Null Rod stops some of their mana, but doesn't stop some of their other mana, and it requires a longer game, and I kind of want my fast mana accessible to me. Is Sensei's top too slow? We did see Dark Ritual and Ancestral Recall. I'm not going to hack the Misstep. I don't need Basic Island. They're not coming for my mana at all. Show and Tell's a little risky. That might put a Balustrade Spy in for them. Flusterstorm has hits. Yeah, maybe I just shave a couple Show and Tells. Oath and Tinker are my one-sided ways to push the game forward. Oko might not be very good here either. It is blue for my Force. I like that. Could just shave another show and tell. Okay, some show and tells out. Hate losing to my own card. All right, force blue card, trap, fast oath. I'm in. If they have a Belcher pivot, that's bad for me. Cabal therapy. Oh no. Resolves. Force of will is the obvious name. Oath of Druids. Okay, we faded. They're trying to play control over there. Ooh, okay. Show me your secrets. What do I need to play around here? Shieldred, Dark Ritual, Unstoppable Slasher. Okay, so there is a whole creature pivot, and that's why they did what they did, naming Oath, because that does dumpster this half of the deck. Okay, that was clever. I am going to vamp for Oath and play a Protected Oath in the next turn cycle, though. Dark Ritual resolves. Unstoppable Slasher. I think I just force this. Ooh, force me back. Fun. Okay. Force pitching Sync. Okay. End step vamp for Oath. I'll get that. Draw a card. Use Beseiju to cast this so I don't keep feeding them creatures. I take 3 down to 12, then 6 from the Slasher, and then I get Atraxa at 6 life to stabilize. And knowing the hand is Poxwalker Shouldered, I'm not even worried about Cabal Therapy stripping Ravenous Trap, because that's just not what the game's about. And they can't win, even if they do that. There's no one card they could draw that would suddenly put together an Oops All Spells win. Doing it anyway. Might as well get mailed Hellbento. Trigger. My Time Walk hit the graveyard. That's sad. That's the card I wanted the most. We've got Oko is a Planeswalker. It's the only one of those there's going to be. Mox Emerald is the only artifact. Tropical Island gives me blue without bothering me with a Forbidden Orchard. Delta gives me black. Puts me to 5. Does this round up? Yeah, it does. Heck yeah, it does. Okay, I'll take Trop to save the fetch damage. And Mystical versus Flash. I mean, clearly Mystical Tutor. And then Show and Tell Thoughtseize Demonic. It's got to be Demonic Tutor, right? Did I lose my Tinker or my Citadel? And Citadel at 6 life, that's going to be 2 in a minute, is not very good either. Yeah, milling the Time Walk hurts there. That's probably just Demonic Tutor. Okay, done. Then draw for turn. Yeah, I can Elk the Slasher. That's just totally stable. Okay, I can Elk the Slasher, then DT for a Force of Will. Target creature is an Elk. My opponent said in the chat they were new to Vintage earlier in the match. I don't think pivoting onto the creature beats plan is how you beat Oath. Even, like, I understand the appeal of, I mean, they did blank 2 Ravenous Traps in my opening hand, like going +2 cards in that way is pretty cool. But Oath's biggest weakness is fast combo, and its biggest strength is creature beats. And I don't think this pivot is good, even if it is worth a couple cards on the virtual card advantage slider. GG's though, opponent. Welcome to Vintage. Glad you're here.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play for round 2. My hand is a little slow, but it is extremely sturdy. I'm going to keep. If my opponent just smashes me with something, I am deceased. However, I do have a Protected Oath with Forbidden Orchard on turn 2. I Mystical for Force of Will, draw that Orchard Oath, bang. Opponent mulled to 5 and did not reveal Aluris. That smells like Bizarre to me, but could be something like Initiative as well. Just getting Wastelanded here would not be ideal. Mox Pearl. It's not Dredge. Ooh. Sensei's Top. Okay. A blue deck on a 5-card hand is some relief. I'm going to grab Force of Will with this Mystical Tutor, and we'll see what's going on here. They know I can protect this. Are we Doomsday? Are we Breach? What are we doing over there? I don't think Doomsday plays Mox Pearl. They're usually on the on-color Moxen. And no Lurrus revealed. This is probably some kind of combo deck. Oath has Resolve, though. They spun top in response, didn't find what they were looking for. If they go land, Tinker, Force backup, I could lose this game. They land Spirit Beats, spinning top, and they're passing the turn. Ooh, something's happening in the end step. Into the Flood Maw. Oh, is this the mirror? Interesting. Yeah, the mirror is live right now. Oko is really important in the mirror. However, if I get the first Atraxa, that's really good too. I have to make sure they never trigger that. All right, I am going to force pitching Flash. I think just getting a pop here is worth it. Cool. All right. They showed me just enough for me to believe this is the mirror match, which is great. Oath is pretty popular in paper, and knowing how to play this mirror is important. For starters, Oath of Druids should barely be in your deck, if at all. 1 or 0 copies is probably the right number. Oko, Flash, and Tinker are what the mirror is about. And Forbidden Orchard, secret commander in the mirror match as well. Because if your opponent doesn't pivot off Oath, you can manipulate their Oath if you have more orchards than them. And that's an important thing to overlay. Show and Tell is also risky, though having 2 Thoughtseizes helps the Show and Tell. Like, all of our enablers are symmetrical. If I show, they get to put in an Atraxa. If I Oath and I have more creatures, they get to Oath. I have messed around with Portal to Phyrexia in the mirror before. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's necessary. These are just ways to kill Oko and my own Oko. I'm basically boarding in +4 net Okos in the match. They're not going to attack my mana, though. I can add a spell to the deck. I could get Force of Negation. That's another answer to Oko. Net 5 Okos out of sideboard. Okay, until I know more, I'm going to do this. Let's game. This hand is kind of the pits. I'm going to have to mulligan this. I am going to keep this real fast. Turn 1 Oko with Force and Misstep backup. This is what we dream of. I'm going to keep this and bottom one of the lands. Who needs lands where we're going? And if I'm wrong and this just is not the mirror match, that's a whole different universe. Do we have the same opening hand? Oh, let's go. I'm going to force pitching Mystical Tutor because I think there might still be a chance that Misstep is useful. Oh, yeah. They pitched their Time Walk. We actually had the same opening hand here. Somebody watches BoshNRoll videos. Forbidden Orchard is very bad if there's not an Oath around, and very good if there is an Oath around. Would I rather have my black or green accessible to me? I think it's black, because that's all the tutors. Thoughtseize probably doesn't matter here. But having my tutors on is probably better than having my Oath on. And it's still on. It's not like I don't have anything here. Here we go. Them having the first Oko sucks, though. Strip Mine. I don't love that. It doesn't affect the game we're currently playing, though, which is Oko jockeying. It does affect my top decks, though. Yep, you're getting an attack through. The Seiju. The Oko can exchange for one of my creatures if they have another artifact. The Elk. Do I want to apply pressure and let my Oko go to 1? Or do I want to give them the possibility of a steal? Stop the steal! I think I have to turtle up here. And I'm going to play Boseiju and pass. If they do something like play a Mox and then switch for my food, then I have a Mox. And my Oko's still alive. Okay, they're just elking immediately. That makes sense. Basically just the back and forth of who can make elks the fastest. Thoughtseize. I don't believe I want to cast Thoughtseize and give them a 1/1 here. Drawing that 1 Oath in my deck would actually be insane right now. Oh, okay. The full mirror match. They made a food, shipped it back. Atraxa, you're pretty bad. Elk my food token. I'm going to lose my Oko first here, and it's all downhill from there. if I don't find an oath pretty much immediately. The oath, the one oath. Or Abrupt Decay or Long Goodbye. Okay, they made the trade, which I think is actually just worse than elking your food, because now Oko goes down and we end up in the same place. Okay, there was some confusion in the chat. They didn't realize that a card changing control would restart Summoning Sickness. Yeah, if they thought they could attack with the food, then it's the correct play. All right, well, deck, let's go. Big draws. Sensei's top. I've had worse draws. Maybe not recently, but I have had worse draws. Yeah, I'll elk this food, I guess. Oko's going to die no matter what I do. This game is really funny that we had the exact same idea of turn 1 land Lotus force backup oath, or Oko. Good job, boss. Right, Oko gets attacked with both things. I am not going to block. He's dead anyway. I'd love to see like Mox Tinker on this Sensei's top when I spin it here. Or just Oath. Made a food. Or if my opponent gets rowdy and tries to show and tell, though I think they have such Oko advantage that doing that would be a mistake. Luster Storm, Gitaxian Probe, Strip Mine. I mean, these cards are not good, but at least Gitaxian Probe gets me through some of the other cards. Probe ya. This will inform me if I need to Thoughtseize you. Oh, you do have an Oath over there. And this Decay means that even if I find Oath, it won't be very good. I can take them off Decay with the Strip Mine. And finding my own Decay here would actually be pretty good. Alright, I'm going to use Strip Mine to top. Orchard, Fluster, Delta. I could shuffle now, or lose my top forever, or I could keep top around. Oh, I've already played a land this turn. That's not even a conversation we're having. Never mind. Retracted. I elked the food. I'm going to trade my elk for one of my opponent's elks here. Just trying to mitigate damage at this point. Basic Island. So we still have perfect info. If I fetch or Thoughtseize, I am dead on board. If I don't fetch or Thoughtseize, I have another turn. I think I have to fetch, though. All right. Big risk. Underground Sea. Use the Strip Mine to top. Oh, baby. What do I do with this? Okay, so I am already dead. This happened a turn late. If I Time Walk now, I can draw Oath and then die to combat. Plus I have to Thoughtseize somewhere in here to get the Abrupt Decay. Or no, I could Strip Mine so I don't have to Thoughtseize, but yeah, there's just 9 damage on board. Okay, I'm dead. That was close. Almost. We definitely both had the same idea. All my answers to Oko are in, and we saw why that was so important that game. We saw at least one Oath still in the opponent's deck, and we saw Basic Island still in the opponent's deck, so we're not on the same plan here. At least not exactly. Yeah, I'm just going to submit my deck again. This is what I got. What does this do? I can find and protect a Tinker, but I don't have any artifacts to sacrifice. I could find and cast Ancestral Recall. Alright, I will keep on the strength of Ancestral Recall. Just try to have more cards than my opponent. Opponent's on 6. Misty Rainforest, pass. I could just take a draw step in that case. Yeah, I'm just going to see if I draw a card. If I find a Mox, I'd rather have Tinker. This is my house. You thought I was going to Mystical Tutor for Ancestral Recall? I'll just draw it. The Eternal Weekend luck has kicked in. Alright, is the decision to Ancestral in their upkeep versus see what they do this turn is a moderate one. If I do it in their upkeep, then they know what I've got going on, but I get one fewer card I have to think about when I cast it. Like if they just drew the Mental Misstep right now, that's going to be bad for me. Demonic Tutor. I'm going to respond to that with Underground Sea Ancestral. That resolved. I found Atraxa and Time Walk. I can... What are they going to DT for here? Oko? Does me resolving Ancestral change their DT? I could Tinker... Oh no, I only have one blue source. Shit. Alright, I can't Tinker this turn. I could just counter this. I'm holding an Atraxa. Alright, yeah, I'll pitch Atraxa to counter this. That worked. And I'm just going to go to my turn and draw. I'd like to set up a Tinker for next turn. Do I strip mine them? I think I do, and I think I take them off blue. And putting Mana Crypt in gives me 1 turn of potential life loss that I don't really want to deal with. Just got to fade their 1 strip mine. Forbidden Orchard, okay. If you don't cast Oath with this, it's pretty bad. End step, Mystical. Get the Tinker, Citadel still in my deck. Draw for turn, Mana Crypt. The slow rolled Mana Crypt. Do they have a Flusterstorm? Rainstorm in response. Okay, dig, dig, dig. Gives me a Spirit. This isn't where I fight. Now they would need Force of Will and Veil of Summer, or 2 Force of Wills. Veil isn't in every Oath deck, it's not in mine, but it has been seen in lists or double Force. And if I have to force here, I will pitch Consign to Memory. That resolved. Citadel. Land. We did it. Atraxa holding priority, Force of Will on top of the deck. The first Atraxa belongs to me. We've got Black Lotus, Misty Rainforest, Flusterstorm. Do I want Flusterstorm? I'm not sure if I even want this Show and Tell or this Atraxa. And Show and Tell pads out my blue count, I guess. I'm not going to take the Atraxa, though. There's Brainstorm. I'll cast that one. Oh, there's Top. Now I can cast my whole deck. Put back the 2 free cards. Play Lotus. Play Mox. I will give them a creature to Time Walk. That happened. And I'll just go to my walk turn. All right, cool. Oko, Tinker, Flash. That's what matters in this mirror match. I had the first Atraxa game 1 where they never really presented what they were about. Game 2, we had the exact same opening hand, but they were on the play. Game 3, I had Tinker, and they had none of the important cards. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw in round 3, and my opponent has Serum Powder to hand and then kept. A lot of blue cards in this powder. I believe I have to mulligan my hand. This is basically... Well, actually, I'm 1 mana source away from Bolas's Citadel, and any Bazaar matchup is one where I'm going to have to go a little bit apeshit. The Strip Mine can also just hit Bazaar if they have a weak opening activation. I'm going to keep this. It's got problems, but it also has massive upside. There's the Bazaar. They said, congrats for winning a Lotus earlier this year, and asked if I will play Oath at Eternal Weekend. Well, that is information my Patreon gets, not people in Moto chats. Tisk tisk. I'm testing right now. Probably yes, though. As you hear me from the future. A hollow one. I will allow Shambling Shell, Force of Negation, Prized Amalgam in the graveyard. This does look like just dredge. Fast mana? A Mox would be great. Oko's not the best. I am going to Time Walk here. This is what I kept on the strength of, and a land of any variety gets me in the bank. Come on, deck, moment of truth. Don't fail me now. Any mana source? Yo, I will even take that one. All right, well, is there a better play than just Show and Tell this Bolas's Citadel? I have access to Demonic Tutor plus Strip Mine, or I could Demonic Tutor and play a blue card. I think I should just Citadel here. Sucks a little bit that that's Orchard, but, you know, I kept the hand on the strength of drawing any mana source, and I did. Show and Tell. Force pitching Narcomoeba, force pitching Oko. Moment of truth. Can this Citadel find the goods? Citadel. And do they have a amalgam or some shit to put in? Grief. Well, that strips my DT. And I hit a land. Okay. Well, I'm going to take at least 8 here and then be in some trouble. Okay, F6. Off we go. Yeah, the grief's tough because now I can't even untap DT and keep things going. I am going to have to figure this out from 11 life. At best. There is also a Dredger in the graveyard, Creeping Chill in the list. They can't Icarid me this turn. Okay, didn't Bazaar in the upkeep. Hit a Creeping Chill anyway. There's a Thug in the graveyard. I go to 8, which is a dangerous number because Atraxa costs 7. And my Time Walk's already gone. Activating Bazaar. Hit another hit 2 Creeping Chills! Stop! Ah! Man, Dredge is annoying, especially when it keeps 7. That's fine. I kept a hand that does this, but the grief mattered. All 3 Creeping Chills matter. Every one of them is an important threshold. What if their hand was just Creeping Chill, and then they milled over grief instead? That's literally exactly as likely to happen as what did happen. All good, though. Welcome to Magic the Gathering. And that actually doesn't matter. They're revivaling my force, but I'll draw that, and then I'll play the land under it. And it matters like a little bit because I don't want this card, but it does not stop my chain by itself. That might. Okay. I'm at 1. Can't cast any more spells. Cool. All right. That went as bad as it could. Bring in my Ravenous Trap and Tabernacle. I don't have a lot for Dredge. Sensei's Top, too slow. Bolus's Citadel, I like it early, but as we saw that game, if they're even like a little bit on board, it can fall apart pretty quick. I think I still want access to it though. Flusterstorm does matter. Mental Misstep doesn't. Gitaxian Probe mostly doesn't. I want everything that goes fast. I have my 3 pieces of interaction. Consign to Memory can stuff a Creeping Chill, but that's not actually something I'm interested in. I might actually want Consign less than I want Gitaxian Probe. It's counter like a grief trigger. This is another thing that I could get stuck on if I'm Citadeling. Top is my best thing if I'm Citadeling. Yeah, I think I mostly just have to beat some counter spells and try not to get dredged. Here I go. Okay, I have turn 2, Orchard Oath, and a Force of Will. I'm not playing against a normal Magic the Gathering deck, though. And if they grief me or have Force, this could be bad. This gets me an Atraxa on turn 3. So I go land, they go Bazaar. I go Orchard, Oath, and then they get 1 real turn of dredging. I'll try it. Let's go. And then I have the Tinker Pivot if I draw a Mox. In Mold of 5, I'll play Bayou and pass. In case they did board into Wastelands, I don't want to hang my Orchard out there, but if they do that, that's a turn they are not Bazaaring, which doesn't seem like the right way to start a game. Here's the Bazaar. I'm in the miserable spot where I kind of have to force a grief. Or do I? Ooh. They are not Bazaaring yet. The old slow Bazaar. They don't know if they need a Force of Will or not yet, is probably what's being shown here. All right. Oath. This is the plan I made. I drew a backup Oath in case I lose a fight, but if I lose a fight, I might just die to dredge nonsense in the intermittent turn. There is a Force. I am going to force back. I think I actually want to pitch Tinker here because the Show and Tell Atraxa is a straight line to a giant stabilizing force where Tinker, as we saw last game, could fail. Bazaar in response. They will have exactly 2 cards left after this Bazaar resolves. Discarded 2 dredgers. Force worked. Nope. All right. Typical dredge hand. Yep. Perfectly normal Magic the Gathering being played. All good. I just need a land or them to not go completely apeshit this turn. Those things are both reasonable. Bazaaring in the upkeep this time. They did hit a Creeping Chill. No Narcomoebas or anything that jumpstart the thing. They get another 5 dredge here, though. Okay. That is, for most purposes, a whiff of a turn. There's no Icarid in there. Yeah, that's just like all setup garbage. And their hand right now is Stinkweed Imp. I am going to spend 2 life here to try to draw a land and put Atraxa directly into play. And I did do that. This skips the turn of having to make Oath work. It does put their Stinkweed Imp into play, which has Death Touch. I think that's fine, though. I will figure out how to beat that. What I don't want to do is give them a whole turn to Bazaar. All right, there's the Imp. I found Tabernacle. I found Oko. Might as well put Oath in my hand. Show and Tell, Flusterstorm. Yeah, Show and Tell Citadel is a line. If I take an Atraxa here, there's only 2 left in the deck. I think I want Atraxa still in the deck. Okay, here is my grip full of stuff. They have one big turn here of dredging before Tabernacle takes over. And with the Stinkweed Imp in play, that's a dredge 5 that they've lost out on. At least until they dredge into another one. Can't wait for the dredge this turn to just hit all 4 Creeping Chills and I lose from 12. Narcomoeba. No chill on the second dredge. This Narcomoeba triggers 1 Amalgam. There is 1 Icarid now in the graveyard. And they did find the Grave Troll. Wow, took a draw. I guess they need to solve the Tabernacle problem. Maybe the Creeping Chills aren't in the deck right now. That would be weird if true. Okay. Draw for turn. Oko. I'm playing Oko because I have to Elk the Stinkweed Imp to get my damage through. And then the Elk and the Spirit will all just die next turn. Elk your Stinkweed. Attack with Atraxa. And I think Narcomoeba is supposed to block here. It's going to die anyway. Okay. Did not block with Narcomoeba. Tabernacle. And pass the turn. I'm out of Creeping Chill range. I don't care about Icarid. Alright, sweet. This one is a bit of a nail biter, but that was 2 close games played with no graveyard hate. I did find the Tabernacle off the Atraxa. That matters. And that definitely did help, but the race was probably still close anyway. Atraxa 7/7 lifelink is a lot. I think I'm supposed to have Sarah's Emissary in versus Dredge. If I name Creature, there's not a lot they could do. What's my cut here? Could be this Gataxi Probe I wasn't sure about last time. Could be Bolus the Citadel on the draw. But still, just having 3 mana win the game somehow, or pull way ahead somehow, is important. Thoughtseize on the draw is pretty bad. Okay, I'll go +1 Sarah's Emissary, -1 Thoughtseize. Here we go. This hand is terrible. I will be mulling it. Can't talk myself into this one at all. Don't even have the second mana source to flash in the Atraxa. Mulligan. Okay, turn 1, Mox Orchard Oath with Force Backup, keep. And I probably put Thoughtseize to the bottom. I would love to Thoughtseize them first, but I don't think I'm going to have time to do that. Yeah, I'm just going to bottom the Thoughtseize and play Magic. Right there, Powder to 5, Mull to 4, race to the bottom. At 3 currently. They only need 1 card to present a game plan, but they do need at least 3 cards to present a fight over my Oath. And 3 is exactly the number they have, but I do have Force of Will. I don't think there's a 3-card spread that can beat a turn 1 Force of Will. Like, I'll just force a Grief if they play it. No Bazaar activation. I'm going to play Mox Emerald first, though I'm not sure that sequencing matters much. They're not going to force a Mox no matter what they think I have. They did have the Force. I'm going to pitch Force and keep Show and Tell. I think I'd rather have the second wave of aggression available than a Force without a blue card. And that also means opponent did not have any Dredgers in their opening hand. They're going to just, like, draw 2, discard 2 in the end step. But if they miss on a Dredger here, it's basically Time Walk. Or just hit 2 Dredgers. Sure. All good. Carry on then. Let's see if we get a game out of this. Upkeep Dredge. Creeping Chill hit. There's an Amalgam in there. All 4 Icarids have arrived. Okay. 4 is a lot of Icarids to support. My Oath is going to trigger, though. I don't think there's anything they can do about that from this point. Another Chill hit. That's 2 Chills and 4 Icarids. If they're going to blitz damage onto me and kill me through this start, this might be how it happens, but we'll see. If this... I have a 20% chance here to just hit Emissary and name Creature, and then nothing happens. Ever. Okay, let's go. Oh yeah. I hit the emissary, named creature. I'm not sure how they win now. I'm at 12, which means the remaining chills in the deck can only put me to 6. And I could keep giving them 1/1s, which means I keep oathing and I get an Atraxa next turn. We got a GG in the chat. They're probably checking their list to see if they have any outs to this, and they do not. Cool. All right, we did beat Dredge. 3 games, 1 Tabernacle, no way to affect the graveyard at all revealed. That's why I don't want to play 4 Leylines at Eternal Weekend. You just don't need them. Obviously, it was dicey. A Multa 3 was involved. My nut draw, turn 1 Mox Orchard Oath with Forest Backup was involved. Like, all those things are true, but that's just vintage. And the mulligans were the cost of playing Dredge. If every Dredge opponent I ever play against for the rest of time just snap kept 7 every game, then I'd want Leylines, but that's not going to happen. And I think I want the extra sideboard that you get if you don't spend 4 slots on a Leyline for other matchups. All right, on to the next one. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. If you're having fun, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to sign up for shop.3fronttrading.com's Black Friday sale, November 27th through December 2nd. I'm on the play in round 4. Opponent has revealed a Lurrus. My hand actually just looks like a bad Lurrus hand, which is not what I want in this matchup. However, I am holding Ancestral Recall and I can protect it. I don't like that I only have 1 land versus a deck that's going to have 5 Strip Mines in it. If I had a second land, I'm going to keep this, but I am worried. If I had a second land, I would just Thoughtseize them on 1 and then play Ancestral on 2 with double protection. But I'm going to have to do the classic vintage upkeep Ancestral myself line. This turns out Force of Negation. They have to have Misstep or Force of Will. There's Oath. Wasteland is heckin' bad, though. Visaggio is not a good land. Unless it casts Oath, then it's great. There's a Wasteland. They're going for it. And this is the strength of Lurrus. They have a bunch of ways to collapse how you want to play Magic. Any colored source, any Mox is insane here. Atraxa is terrible, and I'm just going to have to move to discard and lose probably a Thoughtseize. Yep, this is bad. This is how we lose to Lurrus. They didn't wasteland me again. Any mana source deck. Any one at all. I mean, I'm drawing wild. It's all bad. I am not going to have time to Thoughtseize them anymore. And now I have 2 Oaths. I'll just play one. And if it gets countered, I'll play the other one. A Trop. What are you doing? Is this Bug Lurrus? Interesting. Well, this is not any of the decks that I had on my radar initially. I'm not sure what they're doing now. There is a Bug Lurrus deck, but Oko is 50% of the reason to play Bug. The other 50 is Collector Roof. Did not shuffle. Mana? Oh my god. Going to discard again. Do I dump an Oath? Do I dump Atraxa? I think I dump Atraxa at this point. The jig is up, if it was ever in any doubt. This is the thing about Ancestral Recall that's really important to understand. It's not 3 Demonic Tutors. Drawing 3 cards is quite the burst, but if you are relying on finding one specific thing, like a colored source, you might miss. Deathrite Shaman, I'm going to let that resolve. Now they have a creature in play, so mana for Oath is even better. Oh my god, and I just discarded the Atraxa. That's not even good if I draw lands. Discarding Show and Tell. Brainstorm. This is a lot of looks at more Wastelands. I basically don't care about any card they draw except for Wasteland right now. Scalding Tarn is not Wasteland. Big draws. Mental Misstep, cool. Probably discarding Demonic Tutor at this point. I'm going to Oath this game or I'm not. There is no backup plan. They did not activate Deathrite Shaman in the end step. Did not want to deal 2 damage to me. Oh, we're some sort of 4-color creature pile? Okay. I wonder if this deck does have the full 5 Wastelands. If you have this many colors, what are you doing? Psychic Frog. I mean, that one's a problem. I'm not going to spend forces on anything except protecting Oath, though. That is the game plan I am resigned to here. Land! Okay. Time Walk's one of my best cards. I'm going to discard Consign to Memory. Opponent once again did not activate Deathrite Shaman. Don't know what they're saving that for. Frog's in. Got your taste. Representing Hardcast Force of Will now. Not fighting over death rights. Land, Mox, Black, Lotus, land, Mox. A. Okay. Oath of Druids is going on the stack. The cool thing about this situation is that because we're Oath and they're a Mopey creature deck, we could still just win this game. Abrupt Decay is really bad for me, but the Oath did resolve. Ancestral Recall, targeting yourself in the end step. I don't think I'm even fighting over this. I have the misstep, but I have double force, double blue card, and misstep right now. They're eating a land in the end step from the graveyard. Green in the pool. Fetching. Oseju, okay. I'd love a mana. Thanks. I'm going to get Underground Sea and pass the turn. And I have 6 more life than I should right now, because this Deathrite Shaman just did not exile a spell 3 turns in a row. That Wasteland, okay. Float a blue. The Frog can kill me here if they're willing to go in. Black Lotus could still just get me completely out of this if I can Oath and walk at the same time. 3 red in the pool. Ren and 6. This is an endless barrage of wastelands. They've already played a land this turn, right? Yeah, okay. Oh, right. This gets back Boseiju. I fucked up. All right, I concede. I was supposed to counter that. I forgot about Boseiju. Okay, so that game was close after doing nothing at all for 8 turns and then also punting. Long Goodbye, Abrupt Decay, Oko are cards I want here. Portal to Phyrexia is probably good. We've got... What do I not care about? Force of Negation, probably. They can't have their own Okos because they're a Lurrus deck. I do like Thoughtseize. I do like Show and Tell, Flash, all that stuff. I like Oath. Maybe I don't play Citadel if I have Portal in. And if they have an early disruptive thing where they chip shot damage, that could be bad. Consign to Memory is enough for this matchup. They are attacking my mana. I do care what's in their hand. This is a match I'd love a Sphinx of the Steel Wind. We know they have Boseiju, but it's still a card that I would like. Do I need Flusterstorm here? Probably not. Their deck's mostly creatures. I could cut a Thoughtseize, but this is kind of exactly the matchup I want to make sure my thing works in. And it's a matchup that could have something like Abrupt Decay. But Boseiju is a card that I can't Thoughtseize, that I do care about. I could cut Mana Crypt if I think they're going to have a deck full of Collector Roofs. Do I think they have that? Sensei's Top is great in a matchup like this, as long as they don't oof me, but I'm bringing in a bunch of answers to oof. I think I am going to cut Mana Crypt, which might be a mistake, but I'm going for it. This is a turn 1 protected Flash. I'll keep. Opponent also kept 7. Underground Sea, Mox Ruby. I think I Flash on their upkeep. That's in after Force of Negation and before Flusterstorm. Can't pay the difference. Load me up. Okay. Oko, Oath, Mox. Do I want Orchard? Do I need Orchard? I don't think so. And then Cataxian Probe or Show and Tell. I think Show and Tell because I'm holding the Portal and Force of Will. This gives me double force, double blue card, and a grip full of stuff. In. Pretty good. Where last game, I drew 3 without a Mox. I just drew 6 with a Mox. Hopefully that's enough to get over the hump this time. Mox. Time Walk. Go for it. That is a desperation. Can I do literally anything against this 9-card hand? Time Walk. Found a Wasteland. Slowing me down a little. This deck could be a Pyroblast deck. The awkward thing about Portal is that it's not even actually that good to fire into play on this board. I don't even know if it's going to do anything. I'm going to try an Oko here. And if they Pyroblast it, I will force pitching one of the Show and Tells. Hardcast Force of Negation. That's fine. And that force pitching Show and Tell kind of rules because they saw a force and a Show and Tell, but I literally have still a force and a Show and Tell in my hand. Hedge Maze. Oh, yeah. The old main phase Hedge Mage, turn 3 in Vintage. Grab Lurrus. Okay. So you want a Lurrus game with me. Oh, no black mana. That's too bad. That would have been nice. Okay. Oath of Druids. Elk your Mox Jet. Now my opponent also doesn't have black mana. Expressive Iteration, not fighting over that. Found a polluted Delta. Badlands. I hope they play a creature. Seal of Primordium. This can destroy Oath of Druids. I could force pitching Oko and then still have Show and Tell back up. Yeah, I'm going to force pitching Oko. Cool. All right. Outmuscle the creature deck with Atraxa, as Garfield intended. Do I want Emissary in this deck? Is naming creature with that good enough? Versus the situations where I need to gain life, or if I want to reload my hand. Like versus Dredge, adding this into the Oath package was a 20% of the time you just win button. But here it's a 20% of the time something different happens button, and maybe it's great, maybe it's terrible. I don't think I want to introduce that variance. Okay. Same deck, going back. I always get questions from people about why I didn't bring in Tabernacle versus creature decks. That is literally for Bizarre Baghdad decks and nobody else. I'm not a mana denial deck. Even if they play out, I guess, Psychic Frog and a Dreadhorde Arcanist and then just have 2 lands, they could pay for Tabernacle forever. That's not a fight I'm going to win. I'll keep. I have a removal spell, I have an Oath. I have a fetch land, which could play around Wasteland. Opponent's on a Malta 5. Mox Ruby. Mox Ruby go. Wow. Okay. Tinker. Without Citadel in my deck, that card's a lot worse. But it is a blue card for force. Wasteland. Flash. Okay. I have 1 shot at resolving Oath here. And I'm going to take it. Drop. Opponent can decide if they're going to put me off green or off black. Or they might just need this as mana. If it was like Mox Ruby go on turn 1. And even if they start wasting me here, they can never put a creature into play until they deal with Oath. And it's only a matter of time until I draw an Orchard. Okay, found a colored mana. Might suddenly have a game. I have to fight over Wrenn and 6 here. Seal of Primordium. I'm going to fight over that too. Force pitching Flash. And they are taking me off black, sure. I'm looking for an Orchard at this point. Or something that moves the game forward in a way that is beneficial to me. In Oko and Ancestral Recall. You're another force. Oh, yuck. I'm going to bet that my cards are enough better than theirs that I can absorb 3 of them. If I could keep this Oath in play, if I could protect my Atraxa when it arrives, those are the sort of plays I need to make here. Wasteland me down to nothing. That's fine. None of that changes what drawing Orchard does for the game. Graph Digger's Cage. Okay, do have to fight over that one because I'm all in here. And now that actually does create a scary situation, because if they can get Lurrus, play Lurrus, deploy Cage over the next 3 turns, that's a whole game plan. They've successfully rolled my ankle. I am the horse on the way to the glue factory right now. I have 4 insane rips in my deck that probably end the game. And then I have some other stuff like a Swamp that I could Thoughtseize my opponent with. Wrenn and 6. How worried about Wasteland am I at this point? Alright, I'll just keep Wrenn and 6 off the board. Or at least try to. It's not a creature. It is a value engine. It does eventually win the game. They just dumped a Psychic Frog. Orchard? Sapphire. I am going to hold that. I don't want them to know I have any mana. This would be a big turn to draw black, though, because they'll probably get Lurrus this turn with the plan of playing Cage turn after. Demonic Tutor, oh no! And they do have another Wrenn and 6. And there's no Boseiju in the mix yet. This is it, deck. Oh, this doesn't even matter anymore. They actually just, I think, have me just fully checkmated. Because, or no, it had to be this turn. Because if they just put Wasteland in play, they can waste my Orchard if I draw it, and then minus Wrenn on the token I make, and they can do it all at sorcery speed. Yeah, I mean, my opening salvo did not convert, and they have successfully ground out of it. This is the strength of Lurrus decks. Maybe I'm supposed to wait for them to commit a creature before fighting this Oath into play. Maybe they're just not going to commit a creature because they are this deck. Expressive Iteration. Black Lotus. That's a good one. Next turn, they could get and play Lurrus and play Cage all at once. And then I am basically dead. Picked up a Wasteland. And now they have the lock-in. Orchard's not even good enough. Black Lotus. Not what I'm looking for. I should probably play it out, though. It just turns on Long Goodbye. Really wish I had the Abrupt Decay instead of the Long Goodbye right now. I would actually have a whole game plan available. But instead, I don't. Besageing my Oath. Well, that was not helping anymore. I'll get the basic island. At least play around the face of Infinite Wastelands. They picked Beseju back up. Besageing my Lotus. I can Long Goodbye Ren here. I think that's just what I have to do, because they could just, like, get Lurrus here. But if I let that resolve and get a non-basic, they have Wastelands to crush them. Yeah, they could get and play Lurrus here and replay Black Lotus. And I pitched Tinker earlier this game. That's out as one of my better draws. Well, Emerald, Sapphire. I'll commit a fresh Oath to the board. The problem is they have so many resources at this point, the Lurrus is just a lock. I've played basically this whole game without black mana since turn 1. They wasted me off that and had 2 black cards in my hand the whole time. But they have played really well, not giving me a chance to Thoughtseize the Lurrus. And now it's in hand, now this all just happens. But if they do play Cage, that turns off Lurrus. So this isn't free. It's not like they could cage me and then just go to town forever. So they'll probably use Seal of Primordium instead. Yep. Deathrite Gem, and there's a win condition. Ancestral is one of the better cards I could draw. Do they have a Pyroblast? Mental Misstep, just as good. That's a shame. That was my hero moment to claw back in, rip into Show and Tell Atraxa, turn the whole thing around. Not going to happen today. I am going to grind this one out, though. If I was just playing a normal league, I would probably just concede here, but something as strong as, like, runner, I don't even know, nuts. But using the seals to take out my Moxen while they can also replay Ren and 6 and rebuy Wastelands, they're actually just going to cut me completely off mana forever. That was almost good if it was castable. And big Lurrus game. Okay, Deathrite Shaman has learned how to eat spells from the graveyard. Now my life total will decline very quickly. And because they are going the mana denial route instead of the adding resources route, I will just scoop. Okay. We saw how pushing too hard on something without the full conversion, the opponents can actually dig out of that. Oath isn't Atraxa itself if there's not a creature in play. There was like a 6-turn window that game where drawing a Forbidden Orchard wins me the game on the spot, but that never happened, and they were able to play around it, never put a creature into play, and then when they did have enough resources to operate, they took their sweet time, denying me my Mox, denying me everything with the seal. This didn't give me a window to wiggle out of it. Good stuff. On to the final round. Was that 4? Yeah, final round. I am on the play for the final round with a hand that is medium, but I am going to keep it. I have Orchard, Force, and Mana, and Oath brings it all together. The one of Sensei's Top, a card that I board out frequently, is going to have to do some lifting here. I'm going to get Underground Sea. They didn't reveal Lurrus. Non-Lurrus Wasteland decks are like Initiative and Chops, both of which are matchups I like, but I don't like my hand against those matchups. Opponent just said, this might not be good for content, sorry. I don't know what that means. Are they an off-meta weirdo deck, like a powerless hate bear deck, or is it oops, all spells? Eldrazi Temple. Vexing Bauble. Okay, Vexing Bauble turns off my Force, but I don't want to force it. I am going to spin my top here. Let's see if we could find the goods. Vampiric Tutor. I'll take that. Forbidden Orchard, pass. I can vamp for Oath this turn. Yeah, they said they're prepping for the Unpowered Eternal Weekend prize. And that's cool. My first piece of power I ever owned was a prize for an unpowered placing at Bazaar of Moxen way back in the ancient days. However, unpowered hate bear style decks are Oath's bread and butter, but I have not played since Eldrazi was a thing. Oh my god, what is this? When you cast the spell, exile up to one target non-creature, non-land permanent opponent controls a mana value 4 or less. If you do, this gains when this leaves the battlefield, draw a card. Okay. So I can flip top now, draw Misty Rainforest, or vamp, flip top, draw, or I could just let them have my top, and if this Thief of Existence dies, I get to draw a card. Does this matter? Do I want top in the mix? I don't really want to redraw top, but my draw step is locked no matter what. Yeah, this is actually really interesting. Sorry for the tank opponent. This is surprisingly convoluted. All right, I'll just draw the Misty Rainforest now, and then vamp in the end step. That way top's kicking around my deck, but I don't have to draw it next turn. That card is pretty spooky, though. It does answer Oath of Druids pretty well. Vamp Tutor. I'll get the Oath. Fetch for Tropical Island. And play Oath without giving you another friend. Wish I had one more mana for this Time Walk. If they didn't have Vexing Bauble, I would have been able to stack up a Mox here, but I would have had to know what their whole deck is by the time I committed to that, which I don't think is reasonable. Funny enough, the spirits are actually colorless creatures way back in Champions of Kamigawa, which does trigger things like Glaring Fleshraker. Their 3-card hand with only colorless mana available is now up to the test of defeating an Atraxa or removing Oath of Druids. And I already have the Time Walk lined up, and if they manage to do all that, their creature deck then has to beat Oko. This is going to be interesting. It'll be interesting if they can answer Oath. It will not be interesting if they can't. Right, Kozilek's command to make spawns in Scry X. If they main deck a Grafdigger's Cage, they have 5 looks at that right now. Well, 1 top, 3 bottom. Whatever they were looking for, they found it. Mana being spent. Oh, we're just going again. Okay, same spell. Look at 4, make 4. Iovugin's busted. Bottomed all 4 this time. That's what I'm looking for. Oh no, but things are still happening. Karn the Great Creator. I mean, that card's really good. They're a mana short of wishing for a Grafdigger's Cage here, though. Animating Bauble to get the beats in. That's fair. This Time Walk is a really important card to have right now. If I didn't have the Time Walk already in the bank, I would actually be a little worried about this game. Okay, trigger Oath of Druids. Yes, I'd like to use the ability. Atraxas here, revealing all 3 other Atraxas. I'll take Demonic Tutor, Strip Mine. Do I want a Show and Tell? Or no, I have a Demonic Tutor. I can't also get Show and Tell. That's cheating. Backup Oath. Force of Negation. Yeah, that's probably better than Mental Misstep. And knowing that both Atraxas are on the bottom, does that affect anything? I don't think so. I'll just send them all to the bottom. There's Oko. I have the Time Walk ready to go. Strip Mine. Time Walk. I'm going to Demonic Tutor here. Yeah, they said in the chat 1 mana off a cage. I know, I was counting. I'm with you. Cool. I might have just taken Consign to Memory, put that in the bank, make sure their top deck can't beat Atraxa. Okay, cool. Oath, defeating an unpowered creature deck. This is one of the major reasons we register Oath. I know I keep saying that. Sorry if it's redundant, but it continues to be true. A misstep, Flusterstorm, Force of Negation. In the top was part of that game, but I do think it's kind of bad here. We saw Karn. I wonder if this is some sort of dedicated Null Rod deck. Luckily, I'm not worried about that particularly. This does seem like a matchup where naming creature with Emissary is game. I do want the Citadel in case I get a chance to send it. And then a Nature's Claim. We've seen Grafdigger's Cage. Maybe I should just bring in a Claim over a Probe here. Decay also answers lock pieces, but it doesn't really kill their creatures. But we saw that weird Eldrazi Elk, whatever that thing was, that attacked by Sensei's top. They have to have Magic Glaring Fleshrakers in this deck, which may have actually killed me that game. I think it would have dealt something like 12 to me by itself, just in that turn cycle. Like if their turn 1 was Fleshraker instead of the Exile thing, I might have actually died from damage on their next turn. That didn't happen, though. Got away with it. I feel like they're going to have to mulligan to some sort of lock piece, because what are they going to do otherwise? But what am I going to do? Thoughtseize? Yeah, maybe I just don't want Thoughtseize in this matchup, and I'll bring in Abrupt Decay, even though I'm not convinced it's super good. Oh. This is a turn 1 Oko, but it's horrendous versus Chalice of the Void or Vexing Bauble. Those are 2 ofs. I'm going to keep. I can force one of those things. I then lose my only play, but starting the game with 6 mana is so powerful. And if they don't have one of those things, my hand's great. Eldrazi Temple. Like, if they just play Grafdigger's Cage here, I'm stoked. Elvish Spirit Guide, Thorn of Amethyst. Well, that qualifies as something I have to interact with, and now my hand is kind of shit. Another Force. Okay, I'll show you why I did that. I'm going to dump all these out. I can hardcast Force now. If this Portal to Phyrexia was a land, I could have let the Thorn resolve and just play all these out. And then also play Oko. Okay, here we go. 3 mana away from Portal to Phyrexia. Glaring Fleshraker. Do I counterspell this? I think it would be reasonable to do that, but I'm going to be greedy. Stingy, even. As usual. Hey. Glad I didn't force that. Is there a Grafdigger's Cage or a combo kill to follow up here? If they have 2 Sensei's tops, I'm dead. Vexing Bauble. Okay. That one's too late. Okay, they're attacking me for 2. I think if I untap here, I can't possibly lose. Okay. Oath is triggering. Name creature. I hit the dope. It was the top card on my deck. Milled 0. And now I can hardcast Force as well. And Oath could trigger again next turn. Because they have 2 creatures. And they could sack their spawn for mana and not have 2 creatures anymore. If they were sandbagging a Caracas in hand, this also just randomly plays around that. Alright, drawing a card and going down a creature. I don't get another Oath trigger here. If they could kill their own creature, they could get an Oath trigger next turn. Okay, here's this weird jerk, the Thief of Existence. I cannot counter their ability to exile Oath of Druids, but I'm not taking damage from Fleshraker, and they are dead in 3 hits. I wonder if I should just decay the Fleshraker. It is a source of mana right now when their hand has 1 land. I'm just trying to imagine what actually could matter with Sarah's Emissary on creature plus Force in hand. What could they even do? If I lose this game because I got greedy, that's fine. It'll be a huge learning experience. Second Fleshraker. Okay. Not worried about the first one at the moment. 1 card left in hand. I can just cast this Atraxa. Attack you with Emissary. And they did sack the Bauble, which means this Force is still on if I hit a blue card in my top 10. Null Elemental Blast. Hell yeah, congrats, you did it. Okay, I mean, shields are down for 1 turn. That's the first time I've ever seen that card cast, and that was an insane use of it. Nice one. Okay, here we go. Does the top of your deck answer Sarah's Emissary right now? It does not. Okay. Well, a 4-1 with Oath, and our loss was to a matchup that I imagine is positive for Oath. I kept kind of a greedy one and got punished in game 1, and my opponent played really well in game 3 of that match. But I think if the ghost of Richard Garfield appeared and asked me if I wanted to play against that deck every single round of Eternal Weekend with Oath, I would say yes. Then we beat a bunch of other creature decks. Beat a combo deck as well that weirdly sided into a creature deck. As far as my flex slots go, Thoughtseize was okay sometimes and bad at other times. Maybe 2 is too many in the main. I think I'm going to change one of these. I do like having 1, especially in the blue matchups where they grind and go super long and they have like 6 cards in hand and you really need to know what to play around. I like Thoughtseize there. The main deck Consign almost came up in that last round. I was going to Demonic Tutor for Consign just to make sure I didn't lose that turn, but then they conceded. I think I like that one well enough in theory. And when your flex slots are blue to pitch to Force, that's just give them a bonus at all times. The rest of the deck feels good. I like the play patterns. Obviously, they still hold up in present day Vintage a year after I got onto this deck in the first place. Yeah, I'll just play with this 1 Thoughtseize slot, but otherwise, I like what's going on here. I'm going to record another league with Vintage, obviously Vintage, Demir Luris tomorrow. and just give myself another chance to feel how that deck feels. But I am like 80-20 in favor of Oath at this point. And this is probably 74, maybe 73 of the list I'm going to submit if I do play Oath. We're in sweaty time. Hopefully by the time you're all watching this, I will have top 8 at Eternal Weekend, and you get to watch smugly from the future and say, he doesn't even know. This was so fun. Or I've went 0-3, and I made a bad choice. But right now I'm in the exciting time where it is looking more and more likely that I'm going to just play the 2 decks I played at Eternal Weekend last year over again. Guy, thank you for this opportunity to test. Everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out 3-for-1 Trading's Black Friday sale. I'll see you next time.